Are we rolling? Hey! Hey, y'all, how you been? It's been a minute. Hey, y'all, how you doing? It's Rebecca, me, only black girl, here checking into your screens. How y'all doing? Y'all been doing all right? Good. I know the last couple of years have been rough. Trust me, it's been rough for me too. I haven't been uploading. I really just kind of got burnt out from social media altogether. I really haven't been uploading any content anywhere, like very few and far in between. Have been missing making YouTube videos, so I'm back. My goal, one of my resolutions, whatever the fuck you want to call them, for this year is to consistently upload. So here I am. I'm gonna be trying my best. I think the biggest issue that I've had with YouTube is that I feel like I just run out of topics to talk about, and so to combat that, I feel like I'm just gonna try to not put myself in a box, right? I'm just kind of just gonna upload whatever I want. It's not necessarily always gonna be adoption related. I think it's always gonna be kind of around social issues because that's just what I'm passionate about, and that's what I talk about even off the internet. Like when we are with my friends, I'm always like, "Did you know that capitalist structures and blah, blah, blah." That's me. I'm that person. So I'm always talking about it on and off the internet. And so my content is probably mainly going to be around there, but I'm going to play around with different formats and stuff like reaction videos. I might even do some gaming videos. I don't know. I'm just going to upload shit that I enjoy uploading so that I can consistently upload stuff. Cool. That being said, we are going to jump into a reaction video. So I am somewhat new to Reddit, but I have noticed that Reddit has some very good discussions around topics. And so I was looking through the adoption and the transracial adoption and the adoptee threads or forums or whatever you call them. And I found some really interesting questions and just discussions that were going on. And so I wanted to go through some of those threads and just kind of react to them. Like some of them are questions, some of them are discussions, and I just wanted to give my thoughts and opinions on some of the stuff that I saw. And without rambling any further, let's go ahead and jump into these Reddit threads. So the first one that I pulled up here is how to organize and prepare my kids' history in an age-appropriate manner. So my wife and I will be finalizing our adoption of 2 kids sometime in the next couple of months. We recently got a disc with their entire case history on it. It has a ton of information, 1,700 pages. This being their information, we will give it to them once we know it won't get damaged or lost. Once old enough, they will always have access to it at any time. They're currently 4 and 5, so they're not asking tons of questions about stuff. I know we're not many years off before they start to ask those questions, and we have information ready for them so they can learn as much as possible about their history. Do you have any experience with this? If so, how do you present it to them? Should I do everything verbally until they are older? No, there is not one right answer, but any feedback is greatly appreciated. This is a great question. First of all, I want to say that it is a huge privilege to be able to have all that information. In this post, he talks about having like 1,700 pages of their history. That is amazing. My file is like 6 pieces of paper. First, that information because it is huge and it's a huge privilege that a lot of people do not get in the adoption process. As far as how to approach your kids with these topics or what to do when they come to ask for that, I am a huge advocate of just letting us have the information and then letting us do with it what we will. Started asking these adoptive questions when I was about this age. It didn't take very long for me to figure out I was adopted because I was the only black person in the family. But also you can just kind of tell, right? And especially if you're in a family that's not trying to hide the fact that you're adopted, this is about the age that they're probably going to start asking questions. My parents were actually very upfront about it. They told me my adoption story. They were fully supportive in whatever I wanted to do with the information. They actually gave me my case file. They didn't let me keep it, obviously, because I was a kid. But I always had access to it if I wanted to go and look through it. They basically presented, like, here's everything that we know. What do you need from us? And I think that is a great way to approach the topic. I think just reiterating this the support and the idea that whenever they have questions or concerns or anything about their adoptive process or really anything in general, because you're a parent, they can come to you and it be a safe space and they're not going to be questioned or dismissed or anything like that. So just creating this dynamic where adoptees feel safe that they can come to you and approach these topics and have open conversations about this and not be lied to or not be like diminished or dismissed or like, oh, you're only 7 years old, you're not going to be able to handle this information. That's not your decision to really make because it's not your life, right? It's not your life. It's not your stories. It's not your responsibility to be able to sit here and say that you're not allowed to know this part of your history because it's not yours to gatekeep. The next one I want to dive into is about trying to find your birth family. And as somebody who's done this, I kind of wanted to give a little bit of feedback. So this is this person's story. They said, I was adopted from South Korea when I was 5 months old in the late 80s. Growing up, it was very obvious I was adopted. My parents are white, so that was never a secret or a taboo topic. I recently did an ancestry test and the results came back with a bunch of distant relatives, fourth cousins plus. I wasn't expecting to find my long-lost twin, but it was disappointing to not find any closer matches. Is it worth to try a 23andMe test? I also really don't know what to do with my ancestry results at this point. I don't have all the answers, but as somebody who has also done the search for a biological family and has also done a DNA test, I wanted to just give my 2 cents. So the first thing I would do is, if it is at all possible, try to find the agency that you went through. I was doing the search for my biological family. I ran into a lot of dead ends because a lot of places were closed, or like I ran into some places were like under investigation by the FBI for black market adoptions. Like, the adoption industry is already fucked, but prior to the 2000s Child Citizenship Act that was put in place by Clinton, it was even more fucked. Like, people just did whatever the hell that they wanted. And just paperwork was just non-existent. I understand it may not yield results, but if you can get a hold of your case file, that would be my first suggestion. If you get a hold of your case file, depending on whether it was open or closed, it should carry some information. What I was able to do is I was able to get a last name. And as soon as I got the last name, because I already knew the first name of my birth mother because my mom had met her, it was pretty easy for me from there. And especially with social media, it's a lot easier to find people. Now, the other path, right, is the path where you aren't able to get your case file or names or anything like that. And in that case, what I would do is I would actually invest in another ancestry result if you can. Because the thing about these ancestry tests, which I always tell people, they're good for like taking information with a grain of salt, right? Because these are not accurate and they're also all based on database. So that's why when you send your DNA in to different companies, you get completely different results because it's only ran based on what they have in their database, right? So Ancestry.com and 23andMe don't share databases. They have completely different databases. So when I send my DNA in, it's tested against whatever Ancestry has. And when I send it into 23andMe, they test it against what they have. So they're going to get different results. The reason why I would say to get 2 is so you could cross-reference the information that you have from both of them. You can do that even though you're getting like distant cousins, distant family. What you can do is start with the distant and work your way backwards, right? Even if that means reaching out to those fourth cousins and trying to figure out who third cousin is, and then reaching out the third cousin and trying to figure out the second cousin. And again, that has to do with like how much effort you're trying to put into it. But if you really want to dig to the bottom of this, that is the grassroots way of doing it. It's kind of the only way that you can do it. That would be my advice, is to, if you possibly can at all, try to find the adoption agency that you went through and see if they still have your case files. If they do not, then I would absolutely get the second DNA test from a different company, cross-reference the information, and then start working your way backwards based on the information that you have from those 2 companies. Your adopted child's story is not yours to tell. In the days of the internet, we see adoption stories shared all over, from videos of crying kids finding out they are adopted, to parents blogging about their kids' adoption. Just remember, the details of their backgrounds do not belong to you. The world is not perfect, and people gossip, and unfortunately people will judge your child on it. Being adopted into a church circle, my adopted parents shared the details of my background so people could pray for me. Oh my God, girl. Woo, child. All that happened was I was gossiped about, treated differently, and I would be asked invasive questions from adults. Those details were mine and not theirs to share. Do not do the same for your kid. Your kid's adoption isn't there for entertainment or to make a viral video, and should be treated as a need-to-know basis. Absolutely. I agree. And I would just reiterate that it's just not yours to share, period. Whatever circle it's in, I wouldn't even share it with other family members. Like, it's not your story to share, right? If you had fucking herpes or your medical information or whatever it is. It's not my place to go around telling everybody about your medical conditions, right? It's super interesting that the stories of adoptees are like treated as just like open source entertainment, but we're super conscious about like protecting other people's identities and letting them present it how they want, but not with adoption. Apply that same courtesy to adoptee stories, especially because you never know where adoptees are in their processing stage with the adoption, right? They may not be to a point where they're even ready to discuss those things or want to discuss those things. Sometimes we don't ever want to discuss those things. And so having you going out here because you're trying to go viral on TikTok or whatever the hell, that's not appropriate. It's not your story to go viral off of. If anyone's going to go viral off of it, let it be the fucking adoptee whose story it is to go viral off of. And with that said, I think that is a perfect place to leave this video. I didn't even get through all the ones that I wanted to touch on. So if you guys like this video, if you guys like this topic, please give it a thumbs up so I know. And please click that subscribe button. It's completely free. Costs y'all nothing, but it helps out creators so much. So please click the subscribe button and send me a thumbs up. And yeah, if you guys like this, maybe I'll do a part 2 with some of the other ones that I saw and have saved. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in for this video. I will stop talking because I'm rambling and I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But thank you. Love you guys. Like, click, subscribe, whatever. I don't know how to make YouTube videos. Okay, bye-bye.